Okay, next would be, I just wanted to briefly talk about computation and the schedule for computation and how we're going to run that, because there's a couple of things that I wanted to make sure that we talked about. First of all, this is seeking approval for my plan, which would be that what I would like to do, obviously we did not get the help that we had asked as far as being able to pre-canvass these ballots sooner than election day. So the plan at this point will be that we will be canvassing and opening and counting ballots starting at 7 o'clock on election day. With that plan, that would mean that I will not be in the election office. I will be down there doing that. So with that, what I'm asking is that the board approve that any ballot that has been received by our office that by November 1st, I know that's a Sunday, but basically I just had to have a cutoff date. So any ballot, mail-in or absentee ballots received by our office by November 1st would be counted, canvassed, and counted and put on the results on election night. And basically what that means is we just had to have a cutoff point where we can be able to say, we're going to sort everything by precinct, we're going to count it, and we're going to account for it. And what that means is we're going to compare it to the manifest from our system that shows if there's 100 voters in First Ward East that has requested and sent in, and we've approved their ballot, then we count that there's 100 ballots. We match that to the fact that we have scanned in and there's 100 people with those ballots. That matches. And then what we do is we continuously go from there with a checkoff list as we open them on election day, that we have 100 envelopes. We then have 100 secrecy envelopes. And then when we open those, there's 100 ballots, and then 100 ballots are what counted. That's the process that we're going to use. We're going to do that for all 60 precincts. I just need to have a cutoff time to be able to have that all ready to be able to do that starting at 7 o'clock on election day. So I'm asking the cutoff will be November 1st. So people get in their ballots early. We'll be part of those results on the 3rd at night. Anybody that comes in on the 2nd, any ballot that comes in on the 2nd, 3rd, and at this point with the postmark on the 4th, 5th, and 6th, those would be counted throughout that week. Starting with Wednesday, we would then count those that come in after that deadline. So that's my plan at this point. That's what I'd like the board to give me approval of. I'm going to start recruiting people to come in to help us open those ballots. I'm probably going to do 3 shifts, go all the way up until what we need to get those done. But the plan is when all the polls are closed and all the results are back on election day from all the precincts, we'll have the ballots counted through November 1st, and we'll be able to show election day, and then we'll be able to show mail-in absentee ballot. And all of that would be done on election night. I think Commissioner Ames, that's up to you, but I think there's a couple of questions.
I think Commissioner Phillips had his hand up first, but I do have a question as well.
Commissioner Phillips, you want to give your question to Michael?
Just a clarification. I think I understood the gist of everything, but did you say that it received on November 3rd, 4th, or 5th would be counted? I thought it was postmarked by the 3rd by 5.
Right. You are correct. Okay. Right now it is the postmarked after. So if they're, so November 3rd in person up until 8 o'clock, anything that received on the 4th, 5th, or 6th would have to be postmarked by November 3rd and received by 5 o'clock on Friday.
That was my,
okay. Was not clarified.
No, thank you.
And it does have to have a postmark, is that correct?
It does not. It has to have a postmark with the date or no postmark at all. I have to count both. I know.
Okay.
About it.
That's funny. It's really funny. All right.
I do want to say, Commissioner, if you don't mind, I encourage voters not to count on that. There is legal challenges to that ruling. And I highly stress for people to get in as soon as possible and to make sure they're here on election day. And not count on the fact that could be here. Right now it is, but there is legal challenges to that ruling. And I would just encourage people to just be like, oh, I'm good. I can mail it. They have to sit. Things can change and can change pretty quickly, as you know, with the last state Supreme Court ruling.
Okay. So Michael, you're looking for approval of your plan, which incidentally, I want to compliment you. And I know we're all concerned about this election process, and we want it to work, and we want it to be flawless in Lebanon County. And I want to thank you for all the effort that you're putting into this. And, I think you put a lot of time in planning and come up with a good process. So thank you for that. With that said, do I have a motion to accept Michael's plan for canvassing?
I think Commissioner Litz has a question, Commissioner.
Oh, I'm sorry, Commissioner. Go ahead.
Yes, I know. I'm easily forgotten. It's okay. My question revolves around the November 1st date you're suggesting, Michael. I can guess the reasoning, but I think it's important to verbalize that for anyone who's listening. Why not a deadline of the 3rd or the 2nd?
Oh, sure. Just because of the sheer number of ballots coming back, I have to pick a time to be able to. So one of the things we can do ahead of time, we can't open ballots or we can't count ballots, but what we can do is count them as far as recording votes. But what we can do is count ballots and prepare them and have them as ready as possible to count them and to open them. And so what I'm saying is I want to be able to have a time where we're going to stop and not have any other ballots come in, so I can make sure we have, let's say we have 20,000 ballots to come back, I can make sure and say to you, I have 20,000 ballots right here, and I can tell you and show you that. And so that's why it's the November 1st. So then on the 31st and the 1st, which is a weekend, I can come in here and maybe bring other people in, and we can prep all of that to make sure it's ready for 7 o'clock on November 3rd to be able to count them.
But this does not negate people going into your office on the 2nd and 3rd and being able to cast their ballot as well, correct?
Absolutely, or drop it off or whatever it would be. Yeah, those are absolutely going to count. But what we're trying to say is without the pre-canvassing that we asked for to be able to do things ahead of time, there's just having to do everything at 7 o'clock on the 3rd. There's just no way I can account for the ballots on the 2nd or the 3rd and be able to sit here in front of this board and tell you that we'll be able to account for every ballot and make sure it gets counted correctly. It just isn't going to happen. We tried that with the primary and we about killed ourselves trying to get all those last minute ballots in. And we were able to do it, but this is going to be far more. And so we just had to have a cutoff date to make sure that we were accounting for every ballot gets counted. And I am adamant about the fact that people understand that, and I'm one of them, I voted by mail. And I want people to know that if they get those ballots in by November 1st, that ballot will be counted and put on the results that we show on election night. I think it's very important that people understand that, because I think a lot of people think, well, my ballot going to count, when's it going to be counted? If you get it in here, it's going to be on those results on election night, and you're going to even see a column now that's going to show absentee mail-in and what those vote totals are.
With that being said, I will make a motion to accept Michael's plan to count all ballots received by close of business on November the 1st, and to start opening ballots at 7 a.m. on election day in 3 shifts, and to count those canvassed on election night.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Yeah, I'll second the motion.
All right. Have a motion and a second to adopt the election director's plan for canvassing and counting ballots for the general election 2020. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? There you go, Michael.
Thank you.
And incidentally, don't you think you'll have time to go to the polls to vote on election day? What's the problem?
Well, you know what? One of the things I wanted to do, to be honest with you, is test the mail system.
It's not working.
Well, all I can tell you for me, I got my ballot last Wednesday. I mailed it Thursday, and we received it here Tuesday. Worked for me. I don't know.
I have a couple people that have called me, and theirs were mailed the 7th, and they still haven't gotten them.
Yeah, well, Judy in our office, she just got her ballot yesterday. So
did it have a Scranton postmark on it?
Yeah, I don't know where it went. Scranton, that's cute.
I got mine Friday.
Moving right along. Two more things.